Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Joe.
Hi,
Greetings.
Kirk. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so pleased to be here. You've made it. If you're looking for the Recharge Minnesota recognition ceremony, you're in the right spot. We're going to get started here momentarily, but we're going to give a few minutes while folks come in. You, as a participant, won't be able to see our list of attendees, but Joe, I feel like we've got a roll call of great Minnesotans that are joining this event. It's very exciting to see who's here today.
Well, it's the second annual, Kirk. Like waves were created last year into this year, so it only stands to reason.
It's building and growing and can't wait for year 3. And that's just a good note. We're, of course, doing this virtually because we're still trying to be very sensitive to this public health moment we've been in. But rumors are afoot. This event may be held in person in 2023. We'll see. We'll see if we can get there.
Kirk, I need you to put that conversation on pause. I'm not ready to start planning year 3 yet. We got to do year 2.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be year 2022, I guess, actually. Well, maybe let's get started. So, Joe, thank you so much for doing this with me today. And just welcome to all of you. Again, this is our 2021 Recharge Minnesota recognition ceremony. As Joe's mentioned, it's our second annual, the first of many to come. And I'm Kirk Brown, and I'm here with Recharge America and Joe, who's joining me from Fresh Energy. Just so pleased to have all of you here. So in addition to our many thanks to Joe and the Fresh Energy team, we're also going to be joined by Heather Brown from WCCO momentarily, who will be our host today. Just full disclosure, no relationship between Heather Brown and me, but what a great host we've got coming for you. But also we've got all of the entities from really every part of our state that are on display today. We want to say a major thank you to you. The groups that we're going to be spotlighting have all agreed to share their stories and lessons learned and what they're doing to ensure that everybody in Minnesota can take part in this incredible EV revolution and transformation that's happening right before our eyes. And as we know, in Minnesota, we don't talk about ourselves. We're oftentimes very, very humble. So the fact that we have entities willing to step up and share what they're learning so that others can take similar steps is just really tremendous. So, as we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about the context for all this work. We have over 2 million vehicles, light-duty personal vehicles on the road in Minnesota today. Today, just 20,000, more or less, roughly 20,000 are electric vehicles. So that means that we're at the earliest phases of this transition that ultimately is going to put millions of electric vehicles on our roads, probably within the next decade plus. That transformation brings such an enormous positive benefit in terms of economic development and opportunity. It's almost beyond count, but there's a key question in play right now, which is whether or not that transition will be shared by everybody or just by a few. And the organizations that we're spotlighting today are doing work to make certain that EVs are for everybody in Minnesota and that everybody can benefit. So as we get into that discussion, I do want to say thank you. Not just Joe and I are here today, but we have a terrific team of moderators behind the scenes making certain that we are staying on track. So that is Tina Mallett, Kara Joyce, Emma Edwards, Caitlin Fletcher. They are part of the Recharge America, national team. Totally join you, Joe, in the applause. And this group of folks works just night and day to make sure that we can continue delivering this work. And as we know, doing these events live and online can sometimes be even more difficult than doing them in person. So just nothing but thanks to that team. And then finally, Joe, Fresh Energy, man, what a partnership. We have nothing but gratitude for what Fresh Energy has brought to this. Also, the Sustainable Growth Coalition has been an important partner in getting the word out about this program. But then we have other supporters we should acknowledge. So the Olseth Family Foundation, the Carolyn Foundation, and the McKnight Foundation have all contributed to make this work possible. And the reason they're doing it is because they share with us this value that we must ensure that EVs can be for everybody and that no community is left behind as the EV transition unfolds. So all of the groups that we're going to recognize today, they've taken specific steps to boost EV adoption in their organization or their community. But then the key thing they're doing is sharing the lessons learned. It's very early in this process. We need to help people follow suit. And that work is unlocking incredible opportunity. They've helped open individual, community, state, and national philanthropic channels to support local initiatives. They're sparking local collaboration. They're helping create jobs. And they're just, in general, supporting this story about local economic development and opportunity that we know that comes from boosting electric transportation. The only way you get here, though, so electrifying communities can serve everybody. It can create economic opportunity for us all. But the only way you get there is if you clear the way and secure the possibility to have EVs in our communities. We have a once in a generation moment now to build out the infrastructure that can help us accomplish that goal in all parts of our state. When we do that, electric transportation and this electrification transition, it can benefit us all. So the very last note of gratitude I will share before Joe, I'd love it if you could take us away, is we just have nothing but thanks to give to all of you that are participating in this activity. Again, it's a significant thing to be willing to share your story. We know that you're all very, very busy, and just coming together and hitting a minor pause to share this moment and share this opportunity. It's really tremendous to see what's happening across every part of the state of Minnesota related to the vehicle electrification. So Joe, please take us away. This is going to be an exciting day, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Kirk. Hi, and welcome everyone. I'm Joe Olson. I'm the Director of Communications and Engagement with Fresh Energy. Now, as someone who was born and raised in Minnesota, I am really pleased to see the very broad geographic representation of our honorees today. Although I have made a mental note that my hometowns of Tracy and International Falls aren't on the list, but Kirk assures me we'll work on them for next year. So now it's recorded for posterity. Fresh Energy is a Minnesota-based nonprofit, and we have worked for 3 decades to move Minnesota and the Midwest toward a more equitable and carbon-free future. And our partnership with Recharge Minnesota is a natural fit. We're so proud to support the effort to advance EV adoption and infrastructure here in our state. I'm happy to be here with you all today and honored to be able to recognize the great work being done throughout Minnesota. It's an especially exciting time for us all, given the new federal infrastructure bill that's been passed in recent days. Still early, but Minnesota should be able to expect about $68 million over 5 years to support the expansion of an electric vehicle charging network in the state. In addition, the state would have the opportunity to apply for the $2.5 billion in grant funding dedicated to EV charging. This will help support all of the work that Recharge Minnesota participants are already currently doing, and will further solidify our position as leaders in the evolution toward clean transportation. Before we dive into our program, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what you can expect over the next hour with us. First, we'll get an overview of what's been happening in the EV space nationally. It's been a wild year. So from technology advances to manufacturers' commitments, and then the policy coming behind that's in support of all of that work. So after that, we'll take a look back at the incredible progress made throughout Minnesota and hear from state leadership on what's ahead. And lastly, and most importantly, as the state's change makers, Recharge Minnesota's participants will share their stories and progress, which, let's be honest, that's why we're all here today.
That's right.
During the program, you can interact with us and other attendees by using the chat function on the sidebar to the right of your screen, so we encourage you to do that. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our host for today, Minnesota's favorite news anchor, Ms. Heather Brown from WCCO 4 News. Welcome, Heather.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this special day. You know, this is a topic that's important to me and, of course, to our community. It's something that we're continually reporting on as this sector continues to grow and grow. And in January, I had a chance to dig a little deeper in my Good Question segment on WCCO about the costs and benefits of EVs. And at the time, I wasn't able to give a shout out to so many of the businesses and colleges and nonprofits that are doing so much to advance EVs here in Minnesota. but I'm happy that I have that time to do this today. As a Minnesotan, I'm proud to be among such pioneers and leaders working to reduce our carbon emissions, helping improve the environment, and working to bring more economic development to our state. Now, we are going to hear from our local leaders, but first, let's dig in a little bit deeper on what has been going on nationally in the world of EVs. This past year has been especially exciting in the industry. The U.S. is now targeting half of all new vehicles sold in the country will be electric in the coming years. As of June 2021, there have been approximately 2 million EVs sold in the U.S. Last year, sales grew 160%. 2% of all new vehicle sales were electric. It's a crucial step, but it also demonstrates how far we still have to go. U.S. automakers have begun positioning to help achieve that goal. General Motors announced its aim to stop selling gas and diesel-powered models by 2035, and many other manufacturers have made similar announcements. Volkswagen, Jaguar, and Volvo. In addition to passenger vehicles, the momentum is growing to electrified delivery fleets, public transit, and other mobility options, including rental car agencies. You may have heard just last month, Hertz announcing it's purchasing 100,000 Teslas. Now, in tandem with the growth of EVs on the road is the expansion of the charging infrastructure that we know we need to support these cars. The U.S. is now home to nearly 43,000 public EV charging stations that offer over 120,000 charging ports. And we're now on the way to delivering over 500,000 chargers nationally by 2030. And policymakers across the country are working to ensure that EV charging is available in all of our communities, including our most remote and underserved areas. Additionally, EV manufacturing costs are coming down, which makes EVs more affordable and more accessible. The industry has always been improving the sustainability of the battery components and the recycling. It's a lot of work, but it will help ensure that no community gets left behind in that nationwide shift to clean transportation. Minnesota's rural communities are working to ensure that they're part of the pioneering efforts to re-envision how we get around and how we think about fuel and carbon emissions. And they're working to create a durable economy around clean transportation for hardworking Minnesotans and for our future generations. Here to tell us a bit more about the state-level progress is Anjali Baines, the lead director of Energy Access and Equity with Fresh Energy.
Hi. My name is Anjali Baines, and I lead the Energy Access and Equity program at Fresh Energy. Fresh Energy is a Minnesota-based nonprofit that's worked for 3 decades to move Minnesota and the Midwest toward a more equitable and carbon-free future. In my role at Fresh Energy, I've had the opportunity to work closely on electric transportation and policy issues here in Minnesota. I'm pleased to join you today with a Minnesota update. This year, Minnesota became the first state in the Midwest to adopt clean car standards, a success that would not have been possible without the support of the administration, the Pollution Control Agency, and a dedicated coalition of nonprofits and public citizens who worked hard over 2+ years to see it through. Clean Car Standards, or Clean Cars Minnesota as we called it here, requires our automakers to send more fuel-efficient and electric vehicles to Minnesota to sell. In addition to reducing our greenhouse gas emissions and saving consumers money, Clean Cars Minnesota also increases the choices Minnesotans have when it comes to purchasing new EVs. As we saw with Clean Cars Minnesota, partnership and collaboration is crucial to building the electric transportation future we want. Minnesota embodied that spirit again when it signed onto the Regional Electric Vehicle for the Midwest Memorandum of Understanding. Signed by governors from Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin, the MOU establishes a formal partnership to collaborate on regional EV charging and accelerate vehicle electrification in the Midwest region. Designing electric transportation that benefits and is accessible to all Minnesotans is vital to making sure we don't leave behind our most marginalized and pollution-burdened communities. Much needs to be done to ensure electric vehicles of all kinds can be enjoyed by all Minnesotans, regardless of their race or wealth or geographic location. Our electric utilities have been doing some of the best work here, with innovative EV charging pilot programs available to multifamily housing residents and renters currently underway at Xcel Energy and Minnesota Power. Outside major cities, utilities like Otter Tail Power are building their own EV charging network to make sure greater Minnesota residents aren't left behind. And it's not just on EV charging that equitable innovation is taking place. Back in the Twin Cities, our very own nonprofit car share, Our Car, is electrifying its cars and making sure they're affordably priced, meaning that more residents can enjoy an EV without having to own one. With 20,000 EVs registered and counting, Minnesota is on its way. In early 2022, we can expect an EV strategic plan from Minnesota's Department of Transportation that will help Minnesota prepare for potential federal funding to advance vehicle electrification. We're also looking forward to our state's largest transit agency, Metro Transit, releasing its own fleet electrification plan. We know that moving off of oil and gas for our transportation is essential to a carbon-free future, and with our policy, work, and advocacy, Fresh Energy is working to help Minnesota rethink the way we move our people and our goods. And we're proud to be doing this work alongside organizations, businesses, and leaders like those at today's event. Thank you all for your work to advance electric vehicles in all corners of the state.
Thank you, Anjali. It is certainly great to hear how Minnesota is leading the charge here. Next, I'd like to welcome State Senator Nick Friends.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nick Frentz, and greetings from beautiful Mankato, Minnesota. I want to start by welcoming everybody to the Recharge Minnesota Annual Recognition Ceremony. All of you deserve credit for the progress that we have made so far and for being stakeholders in the directions that we're going. I'm proud to join you as a member of the Minnesota Senate and as the ranking member on the Senate Energy and Utilities Committee, and I join you in our commitment to see electric vehicles move forward as part of the solution to see if we can maybe save this planet. Among the things that we should be glad about this week include the meetings in Glasgow, Scotland, and the infrastructure bill passed in Washington, D.C. In particular, as many of you know, the infrastructure bill is going to provide for EV charging station funding. This is going to have a transformational effect on not only the way that we fund that infrastructure, but also in the way Americans look at it. The more people that understand how electric vehicles are the way of the future, the more we make it easy for them to switch over, the more they'll never switch back, and they'll be glad that they haven't. I'm excited about both those developments. As a member of the Senate from Greater Minnesota, I'm especially interested in the transition to electric vehicles in rural Minnesota. Part of what we're seeing is a greater and greater understanding. An example of that understanding came from the robust, I choose that word carefully, discussion about the Minnesota Clean Cars rulemaking. What Clean Cars says is we want to have more electric vehicles available for sale. And I really think in Greater Minnesota, what that's going to lead to is more and more Minnesotans trying it and finding that they like it. I'm one of those people who thinks that once the tipping point is reached, we'll see a dramatic shift over to electric vehicles, and we'll get the benefits of that sooner and to a greater number of people. And again, as someone in Greater Minnesota, I'm looking forward to seeing that. These gains that we're talking about lock in benefits for all of us, not just in the environment, not just in clean air and clean water, but in the spirit of what we're doing, which is working together to make things better for the largest number of people. I'm proud to join you today and looking forward to the Recharge Minnesota event that'll be taking place in Mankato in the very near future. Meanwhile, hope you all have a great event. Please reach out anytime, and thank you very much to the organizers for everything you've done and everything we're going to do together. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Senator. Our state is leading the Midwest in our commitments to carbon reduction and clean transportation. But the action, of course, happens on the ground by our fellow Minnesotans. And that is the reason we are here today. We all know that change happens from bottom up and in our communities, our families, our own households. And today we're recognizing some of the participant work that's being done at the community level. And we're happy to share their progress and future plans with everyone. Local municipalities can be impactful change agents. It's illustrated by Recharge Minnesota's municipal participants, including the cities of Rochester, North Mankato, St. Louis Park, Northfield, and St. Peter. Now, readying our future workforce for the shift to clean transportation is an incredible task. And we'd like to recognize participants in our higher education community for their forethought and their hard work, including Minnesota State University Mankato, South Central College. You know, some of the most important work towards getting our communities ready for electric vehicles has been taken on by our local community-based nonprofit organizations. And there are some pioneering organizations participating in Recharge Minnesota, including the Mankato Area Foundation, the Children's Museum of Southern Minnesota, Health Partners. But you know what? Don't listen to me telling you all about their progress. Let's hear straight from them.
We're excited to be part of the electric vehicle revolution happening in Minnesota. In 2019 and 2020, we installed 2 level 2 charging stations in collaboration with our local Rotary Club to help build the electric vehicle infrastructure. We carried out a fleet study in collaboration with Xcel Energy to better understand our city fleet vehicle needs and possibilities to switch to electric vehicles. We're working with Recharge Minnesota and other local partners to host an EV Expo this October. In the future, we're excited to begin implementing electric vehicle purchases for the city's vehicles, as well as installing the infrastructure needed to charge them, and continuing to host electric vehicle expo events so our residents can learn about and hopefully begin to purchase electric vehicles.
We're standing in front of the Franson Bank building, opened in 2021. And there will be additional development going down here in 2022. And so with that, as part of this downtown renaissance, the City Council has determined to upgrade the electrical service and lighting in this area to better serve our businesses and our community events hosted in this area frequently throughout the summer and year, including Blues on Belgrade, Beer on Belgrade, and our upcoming Bells on Belgrade events. When we do that in 2022, our intention is to add a level 3 EV charger with the help of Xcel Energy to this area so that we can embrace the future of transportation for our citizens and our traveling guests as they enjoy the amenities of our central business district. That will complement the 2 level 2 EV chargers that were added to our Caswell Sports Complex this year in 2021 with the help of the Olsa Family Foundation and Benco Electric, to whom we are extremely grateful. Our City Council views these as investments in the quality of life and the workforce attractiveness of North Mankato as we compete in the regional and global economies. And so for that, we are grateful to Recharge Minnesota for recognizing our ongoing efforts to become a greener city. Thank you.
I'm excited to be a part of an effort that's setting the pace for the rest of Minnesota because we know this is going to happen and we want to be ahead of it. Olmsted County and the city of Rochester is projecting nearly 15,000 electric vehicles to be registered here by 2030. So we want to ensure that we're getting that buy-in from our community and our private development partners to make sure that electric vehicle adoption and infrastructure is happening in a way that makes sense to our community and in a way that benefits our community equitably. I'm really looking forward to 2022 for a couple of different reasons. First being the city of Rochester is participating in the Sustainable States Network Community Energy Challenge, and we will be a part of the EV Ready Communities cohorts, piloting the EV Smart certification for communities, looking at anything from policy and regulation to education and incentives, and making our community really ready for EV adoption and infrastructure. Second, in June of this year, we finalized our Sustainability and Resiliency Community Work Plan, and one of our focus areas is accessible transportation. There are specific strategies within that focus area that address electric vehicles, developing and supporting an electric vehicle infrastructure plan for our community, requiring EV charging stations in new buildings, especially for multifamily residential, creating a goal to transition the city's vehicle fleet and bus fleet, are just a few of examples that our community members came up with. So it was exciting to see our community want to put such a focus on this as well.
The City of St. Louis Park is taking steps to improve sustainable practices for residents, city employees, and business owners. Our climate action plan highlights our goals of reducing vehicle emissions by 25% by 2030 and becoming carbon neutral by 2040. Transforming how people travel throughout the city is one of our biggest challenges. Our key strategies to increase the adoption of EVs are including charging stations and parking standards for new development, expanding infrastructure for public charging, and promoting and encouraging the adoption of EVs by hosting educational events. To date, 8 public EV chargers have been installed at municipal buildings. There are also currently 20 publicly available chargers across the city at places such as Target and Goodwill, with many more in the works. Looking forward, we hope to partner with others in the region to create an EV master plan and coordinated approach. Continued research will occur to determine EV equity considerations, such as installing chargers in the public right-of-way and/or pursuing a regional electric vehicle car-sharing partnership.
Over the past several years, we have worked with our partners at Reach Strategies, the Mankato Area Foundation, and the Ulseth Family Foundation to host Recharge Mankato, an event that allows our regional community to test drive and test ride various models of electric vehicles, and have provided a bridge for them to learn more about what our campus is doing to propel these initiatives forward. We look forward to their continued success as we plan to host another Recharge Mankato event in the spring of 2022. Currently, our campus has 2 level 2 charging stations for general use, with plans to expand the number of stations and upgrade them to level 3. Our Automotive and Manufacturing Engineering Technology Department continues to produce research with respect to electric vehicles, including passenger vehicles, along with ATV and UTV developments for electric drive to improve range extension. We have most recently partnered with CareSoft Global, which has supplied us with data sets that are used on electric and hybrid vehicles to provide students with real-world information to enhance their research. We are also proud to partner with Arctic Cat, Polaris, and many others. Minnesota State Mankato is honored to be producing leaders in the areas of electric vehicle research, and we are pleased to have had the opportunity to serve our regional community. We look forward to continued collaborations with Recharge and to building civic awareness and education. Thank you.
South Central College is proud to continue to join with companies, schools, and civic leaders across our community and state in making clean transportation a reality. We're committed to preparing both automotive and mechatronics technicians to help build and service low-emission and zero-emission vehicles. We are particularly proud of our role in helping middle and high school students explore career paths that support clean energy. And through partnerships with our area schools, we've been able to bring hundreds of students each year to our college and get direct exposure to the equipment. The Recharge Mankato event provided an opportunity for all ages. SCC partnered with the Minnesota State Transportation Center of Excellence, who provided their interactive trainer. This trailer had various hands-on activities inside, including South Central's electronic training stations for low and zero emission vehicles. At this event, we also had a plug-in vehicle and a dynamic demonstration with our mechatronics equipment. And through these interactive activities, attendees were exposed to the vibrant careers in automotive service and mechatronics. Moving forward, SCC will continue to embed zero-emission vehicle technology into our curriculum. South Central College is also currently exploring opportunities to develop partnerships to fund zero-emission vehicles for our fleet of vehicles used by our employees and installing charging stations for zero-emission vehicles on our 2 campuses. Together with all of our Recharge partners, I have confidence we will achieve our shared goal of making clean transportation a reality for our community.
This is super fun. 3 years ago, John Olseth came into my office and suggested that he would like to work with the foundation in a way to make the Mankato area the electric vehicle hub of Minnesota, the place that had the most infrastructure and the most cars. And his goal was that 1,000 people in our community would own electric vehicles within the next 10 years. And if 1,000 people own electric vehicles, he projected that that would be $1 million into the infrastructure of our community. When John first posed this to me, I didn't have any idea what an electric vehicle meant, what it was like to drive, what it would be like to own one. And so we had a really long conversation. And over the next 3 years, through our Recharge Mankato ride and drives, I became a little bit more educated. So it's fun for me to say now that I actually own an electric vehicle. I've put the infrastructure into our home so that we can support this vehicle. And I'm all on board with John's approach for 1,000 vehicles in Mankato in the next 10 years.
Another critical piece of the clean transportation journey is the utility industry, and they are literally powering our communities. They are the backbone of the infrastructure our streets and homes need in order to shift towards EVs. So let's take a moment to recognize our utility participants: Xcel Energy, Conexus Energy, Otter Tail Power, Great River Energy, Runestone Electric Association, Southern Minnesota Municipal Power Agency, Zeph Energy. And let's hear a few words from them.
So today I want to give you an update of what we've done in 2021 for our commitment to Recharge Minnesota, and tell you how excited we are to continue that commitment and move forward into 2022. So for 2021, the biggest thing that we did was we created an EV subscription rate for our members. Basically what that is our members could pay one fixed flat fee per month and have unlimited charging every single day from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. The key point for us and for our members was they avoided the peak period. So that helps save money for both our members and our co-op, which in turn saves them money again. The other thing that we did was increase our level 2 and level 3 commercial EV charging rebates. So that helped get more installed in our territory, which makes it easier to drive for EV members all across our 1,000 square mile territory. So that's really what 2021 gave us. Even though COVID-19 was here, we still moved forward in the positive direction. For 2022, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna keep the subscription rate. The feedback has been great. And we're gonna keep the increased rebate dollars for those commercial chargers. But the thing we're gonna add is dealer engagement and understanding, and how Conexus is here to support them. We wanna keep up with our motto, especially when it comes to EVs, that we wanna be the easiest and the best co-op to have an EV with.
We're kind of an unprecedented time in the electric utility industry where we get to talk about something that's so impactful to our customers as we think about electrification of transportation. Serving a very rural service area, we know that one of the big barriers for our customers adopting electric vehicles is that we have a lack of a DC fast charging network. And so one of the things, the initiatives that we took on about a year ago is building 11 DC fast charging sites located within 45 minutes of all of our Minnesota customers. So we're very excited about that. And what we're trying to do with this project is really mitigate range anxiety. We want to make sure customers feel comfortable when they're traveling and know that there's public fast charging available. And then we have a secondary project where we're going to be adding level 2 charging to 10 more communities. We want our customers and others traveling through to see that electric vehicles can work in this area. Right now, I'm sitting in an electric vehicle that Otter Tail Power just purchased, a Ford Mach-E, fully electric. Very excited to have this vehicle in our fleet. Another opportunity for us to try to connect with our customers and talk to them about the viability of electric vehicles. Recently, Morris Public Schools received a grant for 2 electric vehicle buses. So they're going to be using those 2 buses this school year to transport kids around. Other initiatives we're doing is we're expanding level 2 charging at all of our Otter Tail owned buildings. We're working on offering both level 1 and level 2 charging to our employees. It's a great way, again, to have employees being ambassadors for the technology. out in the communities. Some of our plans are working a lot with auto dealerships. And why that's so important is they need to make sure that they're educated on the technology and they have that connection with the utility so they can inform the customer about charging details, things like that. I think we're doing some great things, very optimistic about the future as we transform the transportation industry, and looking forward to doing many more initiatives in the future. Thank you.
We're proudly focused on a clean energy future with a strong commitment to drive electric transportation forward in Minnesota. Our EV vision complements our goal to provide 100% carbon-free electricity by 2050. We're happy to report that in 2020, more than 60% of our customers' electricity came from carbon-free sources in the upper Midwest. And this year, we'll complete our wind expansion with more renewable energy on the way. Since there's more wind power on our grid at night when electricity demand is low, powering EVs overnight helps make charging affordable. Charging at these off-peak times equates to less than $1 per gallon of gas. That's a win for Minnesota, EV drivers, and charging at home, as well as for our grid. In Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Colorado, we've introduced over a dozen EV programs in just a few short years. For example, our EV Accelerate at Home program makes it easy to get a level 2 charging station installed at your house for a low monthly fee, which includes installation services and charger maintenance. And to give our business customers easy access to an EV charging expert, we've bolstered our one-on-one concierge advisory services. We've teamed up with many local dealers committing to driving EV adoption. Before a customer drives off the lot, they can enroll in our EV Accelerate at Home to get their charger and also sign up for our off-peak charging rates. We're partnering with the cities of St. Paul and Minneapolis and the rideshare nonprofit Our Car. These EV spot network hubs are similar to bicycle or scooter rental options and will offer zero-emission car rentals by the minute, hour, or day. When completed, residents will have access to 150 shared EVs and 70 curbside charging station hubs within the cities. And to help our multifamily building owners with EV charging for their residents, we're introducing a pilot program in December to help fund some of the costs for construction of the infrastructure for new EV charging. These and many other EV programs in development are designed to minimize costs and speed up the growth of EV charging. We're witnessing an exciting transportation evolution that will bring tremendous value to our customers and communities. At Xcel Energy, we are committed to a cleaner electric future.
Our corporate leaders are taking note, and they're forging new paths. We're seeing great progress across many fields, including our local auto dealerships. Let's take a moment to recognize the critical work the private sector is doing to increase EV adoption in our communities. C&M Ford, Polestar, Rosso Ford, Unitas Bus Sales, White Bear Mitsubishi, Brennan Companies, Design Ready Controls, Our Car, Invictus Brewing Company, Neubau Holdings, LLC.
One of the new investments that we have made at both of our dealerships is installing a charging station for the public. We're also partnering with some area businesses in Hallock to install a fast charging station along with Otter Tail Power Company. I've also been engaged with some of my customers who have purchased EVs from me and going to their house with the utility company and with the electrician and talking with them about some of the opportunities that they do have in installing charging equipment at their own home. Other methods of EV outreach have been with test drives. I feel this is the most important aspect that a car dealer can have when it comes to EV adoption. We had a fun event in Rosa, Minnesota, where we partnered with local utilities, nonprofits, state and local governments to do a test drive, to bring in utility companies and people that are professionals in this area. We invited the Chevy Bolts of the world and Teslas of the world and whatnot, so they came from far and wide, and it was a great and well-attended event. There are many reasons why I'm passionate about electric vehicles, primarily our environment. We as in the automotive world need to change how we view transportation. Electric vehicles are going to be our future. The investment that Ford is making into it specifically, where they're building 3 new battery plants and an all-new electric F-150 plant, they're investing into American jobs. This is an investment that Ford realizes is critical as an automotive retail aspect. Partnering with utility companies and nonprofits are important as well, because they're the ones that are going to be handling the infrastructure side of things, which hand in hand needs to be done at the same time. Looking forward to the F-150 Lightning pickup. It's our #1 seller. We've been selling pickups for 50 some years. I can't wait to get our first F-150 Lightning in 2022.
I have to say, these are the kinds of stories that we love to tell here at WCCO. I'm proud to be able to give attention to these innovators and change makers across the state who are working together to better our communities and our environment and our economy. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you tonight, and I look forward to hearing more about what you all are doing throughout this next year. And for some final words, I'll pass it back to Kirk Brown.
I don't think there are any words that can top that. So one of the things I want to comment on is that when we did this last year, we used a different technology, and seeing what's happening with the chat and all of the participants who were able to join us today, acknowledging each other, has been a really special treat for how this came together this year. And you can't even do the roll call because so many people are so involved and so many things are so just so exciting to see it all. But what a gratifying thing. I also want to say one last note about how quickly this is all evolving. So the Recharge Minnesota process is ongoing. We continue doing outreach and having folks that are willing to do this piece of, share their story and take up the work that it's going to take to move this forward, become part of this process. Just as we were almost coming to air, Riverland Community College submitted their pledge to join Recharge Minnesota. They've been doing work in their community and are going to be sharing those stories shortly. So even as we acknowledge this year's recipients, we have a fresh participants. We have a fresh participant, Riverland Community College, joining us. So we want to say welcome and thank you. And again, thank you, Joe. This is the treat. This is the greatest treat, right? Getting to see this kind of work. So please take us away, Joe. But thank you, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for being here today. I'm so grateful that you chose to spend your morning with us. You know this, but you're all pioneers in setting the course for a thriving clean economy here in Minnesota. Now, I want to share last year's encouraging remarks from Governor Tim Walz because they really accentuate the appreciation he has for the work that you're doing.
Congratulations to all the Recharge Minnesota participants being recognized today. I'm so grateful to be in the virtual presence of eager Minnesotans who recognize the value of electric vehicles, not only as a way to mitigate climate change, but also the smart economics behind EVs and EV charging. It's your willingness to share your stories of success, challenges, and solutions to help others learn about electric vehicle technology that help bring us to the forefront of innovation, talent retention, and economic opportunity. I'm impressed at the variety of participants taking the Recharge Minnesota pledge across the state, from auto dealers to cities, manufacturers, nonprofits, small businesses, and utilities. Your commitment is proof that EVs can be a win across sectors, and I hope you'll continue to share your experiences with your colleagues in your sectors and industries. And finally, thank you to the Olseth Family Foundation and Fresh Energy for their vision, leadership, and outreach across the state. Your commitment to expanding the footprint of EV use and infrastructure will make a significant difference in our green economy and our future. Again, my congratulations and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Governor Walz. Thank you, Joe and Fresh Energy. Thank you, all of our Recharge Minnesota participants. EVs can, will, and are a win for everybody if we make them available for everybody. And that's what's happening as a result of all the work that's happening across the state, thanks to what everybody in Recharge Minnesota is doing. Joe, I think that's it. I think we get to say thank you and sign off. Any last words, Joe, you want to share before we go?
Nothing. I just, aside from saying thank you everyone for being here, and I've heard a rumor that possibly next year we'll have a musical appearance from Kirk himself. So something to look forward to.
Well, there's certainly a rumor that we're going to be in person. Whether or not I'll be invited to that, we'll see.
It depends on if you bring your guitar. Okay.
That's right. That's right. Thanks,
Thanks,
you, everybody,
everyone.
for taking the time. We'll see you next year. Bye-bye.